Thank you so much, Leanne. And the African Diaspora Forum says it has received requests from more than 400 foreign nationals who want to return to their home countries due to the attacks on foreign nationals in South Africa. A total of 13 people have died since the attack started afresh in Jeppestown more than a week ago. About 800 displaced people, mostly women and children, are currently being housed at 2 community halls in Katlehong, east of Johannesburg, after they were forced to flee their homes during the attacks. And to give us an update on the situation, I'm joined here in studio by Amir Sheikh, who is a spokesperson for the African Diaspora Forum. Thanks so much for coming through this morning.
Good, thank you very much, and hi to your listeners.
Let's start by looking at the sentiments among foreign nationals at the moment about what is happening. What are people saying?
No, the reality of what is happening now is something that is undermining the unity, the coexistence, and the social cohesion that we have been emphasizing for many years. And this is not the ideal for what the 4 founders of this country have actually fought for. We have enjoyed a relative peace for many years, despite the resurgence of xenophobic attacks that had actually a social ills and socio-economic aspect. But this time round, at least, it's one that is not unifying, but as actually destroying the little that the country gained in its 25 years of democracy, as well as also tainting its image actually abroad in sister's country.
So if we look at what the conversations are, what South Africans are saying, and this is well documented, there are concerns expressed around foreign nationals taking up jobs, about crime, especially drug-related crime, and also some other socio-economic issues that people highlight. But what is the conversation amongst your members in the Diaspora Forum, amongst them, about what is currently going on? What are they saying about these allegations that are being put forward?
The truth of the matter is, the concerns from the local community, most of them are very genuine. If it is the social ills affecting us all, if it is the issues of actually drugs, if it is high crime rate, high unemployment rate, but it's very unfortunate that we also actually live side by side with the local community, and the societal actually ills and the crime affect us all equal. So we see anger that is directed on the wrong direction. Yesterday evening, we are fortunate to have a meeting in preparation of actually the next week coming of the king of actually the Zulu nation, King Zwelithini, with the chief indunas actually in Gauteng. And one of the things actually that came out is that the failure by the government to fulfill its mandates to its constituency is actually becoming a problem for us. The government is using us as a scapegoat, whereas the local community are using us as a step ladder to reach actually the elected officials. It was very clear yesterday. They said, if we talk to the government, they don't come to us. It's only when we attack the migrants that the government will come from the offices and come to us and actually ready to dialogue with us.
So you're blaming the South African government for the mess that we are seeing right now?
The current one have everything to do with the anti-migrant sentiments that have been developing for the past 1.5 months, the reckless, irresponsible, inflammatory statements that were made by actually our political leaders from all tiers of from all the 3 tiers of government, be it the executive mayor of Johannesburg, be it the premier of Gauteng, the minister of small business development, or even the minister of police, who is quoted when he actually went for a walkabout with the premier, that had he had the power, he will have taken all these migrants in buses to where they came from.
So in terms of then where the culpability lies, so you say the politicians are inflaming the situation, but you also acknowledge that there are real and genuine concerns. So what needs to be done about that? How do you believe that this issue should be best tackled?
I think the need is that the local community and us coexist and live together. What affects them equally affects us together. So we need to actually come together and at least unite on the common purposes, what unite us, be it crime that affect us all, be it actually skills and entrepreneurship training. And I think this we started with Indunas now. We will continue, and when we developed a workable solution is only when we will bring the government, because the government is not in a place to come. I remember 3 years ago we had a working memorandum which we signed with former Minister of Small Business Development with a group called South African Spouses and Tax Shop Association, but very unfairly and sadly, that memorandum was only, she appended her signature and nothing actually worked after that.
Now, I just want to talk very quickly about the requests that have been made by members of the Diaspora Forum for them to be helped to be repatriated back to their countries of origin. We understand you've received at least some 400 odd requests. Talk to us about that, please.
The number may actually exceed that. In Mayfair alone, we have got almost 200 members from the East Central Africa and some part of Asia, Bangladesh, who have come to us. The Nigerians actually have also offered a free transport back at home. And so far, together with the Nigerian National Union, South Africa, and the Nigerian Life Matter, 600 actually people who are affected directly or indirectly by these attacks have registered themselves. And the first flight that will be carrying 320 members of the Nigerian community will depart tomorrow. Then there is a case of actually over 1,400, mainly from Frontiers district that were displaced in areas of Katlehong and who are now in actually encampments. And 400 of them, of which actually children included, have also indicated they are willing to go back home, and working with the embassies, we are trying to help.
So what are they saying, in terms of the reasons they want to go home? One would think is pretty obvious, but, the lasting sentiment about South Africa and what has happened to them here.
We had a case of actually a Ghanaian brother who came to us, and he said this is actually the 6th time that he is trying to rebuild his business. And actually every time he comes under attack, whenever he said, at least I'm settled. Many of actually members that have come to our offices or we engage with are saying that enough is enough. We are tired, we are businessmen, we cannot actually continue this way. We rather go back and invest the little we saved back at our home. And some are actually going far extreme and saying that, death is the only inevitable thing, and if it is to die, it is better we go back home and die where our relatives are.
It really is unfortunate. And there are, of course, also sentiments expressed about foreign nationals in the country not having the requisite documentation. There are claims that many are here on expired passports or without any documentation at all. Are these the type of discussions that you also engage in, given that these are one of, the allegations leveled against foreign nationals in South Africa?
Yes, but the unfortunate part is that the Department of Home Affairs is not actually known to be a friendly ministry, and getting support from the department is not an easy, despite even some of our members last week meeting the ministers and his top officials. The backlog that they created currently stand at hundreds of thousands, and documentation, access to documentation is not an easy thing. We as a federations are willing to actually work with them and help. But help is not forthcoming from the Department of Home Affairs. And being a signatory countries of all the refugee convention, be it the Geneva Convention or the OAU Convention, and a country that have gone even further domesticating these international treaties to the Refugee Act, South Africa have got responsibility to document each and every person who comes. But it's very unfortunate that we are not getting. They are creating the backlog due to high corruption. And some of our members, especially the new asylum seekers, cannot afford such services.
And that, of course, the Minister Aaron Motsoaledi was here not so long ago, and that was one of the issues that was highlighted along with border control. But just a final question. If we look at, for example, some of the videos doing rounds on social media whereby law enforcement in South Africa comes under attack from foreign nationals, what do you say to that? Because an attack on law enforcement, an attack on the police constitutes an attack on the state. How do you respond to that?
We really do believe actually that, and we condemned it in the strongest term. What have happened in GB a month ago, we do not actually condone such behavior from any of our members, but still, There are underlying factors that are leading to this and have been actually boiling. Though we strongly condemned, but issues that also need to be looked at is actually, are the police also in the raid following the due process? The daily intimidation, interference, harassment from the law enforcement is also a concern for our members. But the action or what happened a month ago is something that we as a federation strongly condemn in the strongest term.
Well, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much to Amir Sheikh, who's spokesperson for the African Diaspora Forum. And they say they've received requests from over 400 foreign nationals who want to be helped to return to their home countries due to fears of violent attacks here in South Africa. Let's take a break.